Hey yo, this is Aphiwe Coka and you are watching Analogue Culture.
Good morning and welcome to Analogue Culture on a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning of November. Today is Aphiwe. And yeah, man, one of the most interesting spinners I've met around the Kapa. Very versatile in terms of his sound, especially when he plays alternative. Kind of very, very, very intricate, and it puts you in the mood. Malume, welcome to the show.
Abut.
All right.
Very well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm very well as well. You know, our show is literally meant to give people an inside perspective of our DJs around Cape Town and around South Africa, basically. So as bazokwazi ukunikeza abantu an idea of who they are.
Sure.
So today we have you in studio, and yeah, man, wanted to find out about Aphiwe. Matala, where are you from originally?
I was born in the Eastern Cape, King Williamstown. Yeah. At a village/location called Etembeni there. King Williamstown could also be known as Ekon. Yeah, that's the name, Ekon. Okay. So yeah, that's basically where I'm from. Yeah. And yeah.
When did you get to Cape Town?
I came here in Cape Town mid-primary. So I would be doing grade 4 at that time. So I started grade 4 in Cape Town, in fact. Yeah. Yeah, so that would have been 2004, 2005. Yeah, around about that time. I think I started in 2005, yeah.
Okay. Now figure Cape Town. What is the type of sound that is being played that you are appreciating at that age?
Obviously house was there. There was Kwaito as well at that time, or maybe Kwaito was just about to end and then it transitioned to a house. So there was a lot of that on the radio as well. I would say that was pretty much the sound at that time.
Yeah, and I know at that time Deep House was literally being played on radio like a lot. Proper. So what was coming out of the radio that you do remember? A song specifically.
Maybe artists. So at the radio, well, in the Kwaito space, Bekuno Bokabelo, WHP, Lebo Matosa was quite big at that time. I think Eli Mafikizolo, but there was also a bit of R&B or Afro soul from Abo Samajobe at that time. There was quite a lot of that. And I think maybe Bongo Muffin as well was quite popular at that time.
All right, cool beans. So you fall in love with that type of sound, the douche from the Kwaito, the beautiful stuff from Samajobe, the R&B, from Music Soul Child, I should presume.
Yes. If you go across, yes, definitely.
All right. Definitely. You're one of those people who have a music book, right?
Sorry?
You're one of those people that had a music book.
Ah, man, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I was so obsessed.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't want to admit that they had music books, but we know. So, excuse me. Right, here you are growing up at Cooks, right?
Esamora, Michelle, yeah.
Okay,
Esamora.
Cool. Who are the biggest DJs at that time?
Esamora, man. Some of them are still my friends today. Urban Music, 10 Tribes, Quality Tabucha, Hotmanyam. Yeah. That's in fact the guy that taught me how to DJ. Yeah. DJ Mavura, DJ Ayla. Yeah. Those were the guys at that time.
At that time?
Yes. Some of them are still visible. You get to see them every now and then. Yeah.
I do believe that was the time in era CDJ 100s.
Yep, yeah. Definitely.
Bantu bazulanga maslapa and really just packaging CDs inside of there. Do you still have one of those?
No. I had one through Tabuja. We used to own a sound, Hotman Tabuja, but he also doesn't have 100S. No, he doesn't. Nah.
Okay. How do you then get into DJing? Like Utabuja, for him to decide to teach you how to play,
Right.
how did you get into it?
Funny story. So, because I love music, right?
Yeah.
And I met him when he was playing at his residency. Utabuja and DJ Mavura, the guy we call Kent now.
Yeah.
That's his nickname. So I used to go and listen to them when they were playing. And then I love music. I was listening to a lot of radio. And then I started banning CDs.
Yeah.
Just to keep myself ready whenever there's opportunity to play. So that's basically how it started. Eventually they say, if you're interested, I can teach you. And very well, I was interested.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Both of them, they taught me how to do the thing.
Where was their residency?
Coka, the shipping was called Kwarobi. It was one of the popular spaces at that time. I be paying straight.
Yeah. Ukudlula kwaPhungas?
Obviously not. Because Samora was small. But if you say Samora, that's the name we want to be talking about. Unless you're exposed to Samora, and then you would go out to cooks and Pungas and stuff.
Yeah. All right, here you are, you're burning CDs. They've taught you how to play. Where's your first gig?
My first gig was there.
Go Canada.
There was a time where after they taught me how to play, on the following weekend, they had to leave me there because I was playing the early sets.
Yeah.
That was basically my first gig.
How did it go?
Oh man, I was nervous. But look, I was so confident in the music that I was playing. It was not bad for a first timer. It was really not bad. But I was obviously nervous. Yeah.
What did you curate? Iguaito or
no,
did you go
it was deep house. I remember, in fact, the very first song that I played, it was a Takapo song, K-Lo out there, and another Takapo song, Something in Mind, at that time. So this would be around 2012. 2012, yeah. 2012, 13, so.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, you drop your first set, now you're ready to do other big things. How do you then get into the market to say, all right, chap, I'm here.
Yeah.
And
so again, a curiosity that led me to where I'm at, or to the market. I was following the guys, the music, the producers, where they are at. Oh, this one is playing in Cape Town. At what place are they playing at? So I would then go there just to feel the vibe, listening to a radio. I would go to their residencies. If maybe Christos is playing in Cape Town, I would go there and just have a chat. That's basically what happened. Dino Michael is one of the names that comes first from radio, and then they're playing in Cape Town. They've got a place. Then I would be there just to have a conversation, and then eventually introduce myself as a DJ as well.
Yeah. And then you also have a relationship with Dino, right?
Yes.
Is this while he was still running Syndicate Records or post the Syndicate Records?
I'd say post. It was also after his radio time at Good Hope FM.
Okay.
Well, I first heard about Dino on radio around that period of 2012 to maybe 2014.
Yeah.
So that's how he influenced me in his music. And obviously, I work Christos on the other shows and Finita Vince's. Then, because I've been following with Dino online, I then met him later, I think 2017, would be around that time when I met him. So at that time, he was playing at a place in Cape Town called Vixia, I think. And then also, I think it was part of Kove at that time.
Yeah. The Kove group is the one that runs... I think it Grand Africa, eh?
Yes, it runs the Camp Space Strip and the Bungalows, yeah.
All right, so you get into the Kove group, but before we get that's right. You being part of the professional group of DJs in Cape Town.
Sure.
Before you got into that, you're attending events, you're getting to network with some of the DJs like Cape Town. How was the reception towards them? Because literally you're coming into a space where there's already people that are literally working.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I was lucky because I met the right people for my music. So people that I can relate to, they relate to the music that I was offering.
Yeah.
So that basically became the language. for example, a guy like Sboza and Jazz Bishop or
yes.
Sporo. Those are the guys that I first met from the Cape Town market when it comes to the DJs and for this type of music offering that I have outside Samora. So those would be the first guys that I actually met.
It debuted Yako in the CBD. Which club was it?
Ooh, okay, yeah, now I remember this one very well. It was in Camps Bay, actually.
Yeah.
In Camps Bay at a cafe that used to be called Sunset Sessions.
Okay.
And then it changed to Beach House. And then I think it's sold out now to something else, but still in that same Camps Bay strip.
Yeah.
So that was my first gig, actually, my first very serious gig, which I still remember even today.
Yeah. That's dope. Literally, you're moving from a Samora, from playing for people that would understand what you do because there's a build-up of what you do.
Sure.
You're going to a down, Camps Bay strip. There's people who listen to different stuff.
Right.
You have to deliver your type of sound. How's the feeling there?
Whew. Look, it's always interesting to introduce music to people, especially something that they are not familiar with.
Yeah.
So you always take joy, especially when they appreciate it. I'm like, oh, they'll be like, this is quite interesting. It's a different feel. At that time, I didn't know how much of the music that I was playing or offering they were exposed to at that side. But look, man, it fitted because it's a very chill type of music, and that scene, it's a very laid back type of vibe, but it's not very outgoing, so you wouldn't probably remember it, but it's very chilled. So that was the interesting part for me. And then obviously that would be the introduction, and then I would steal a little bit of what they are familiar with and just infuse it in my sets.
All right.
Mostly that would be disco at times.
Yeah. Is that you inside Kove now or before you got into Kove?
That's before Kove. That's before Kove. The Sunset Sessions times was before Kove.
Before Kove?
Yes.
Okay. So literally, as a working DJ now, we're talking at that stage, you just came into Spaces Fan and Camps Bay. How is the pay rate in that aspect?
At that time, look, I couldn't tell what was fair or what was not fair. I was only working with what works for me at that time because I was not exposed to this type of discussions. Obviously, I was very excited to be in this space. The money is decent, but if maybe someone comes with experience, who's been playing here before, maybe they could tell me a different story, that maybe you could up it up a bit. So for me, it made sense. It was decent for me at that time. Yeah.
Right. Now you get into the Kove.
Yeah.
How does your contract look with the Kove for you? Explain to me, how does a contract with Kove work or look like actually?
Well, it's basically you'll be playing like 3 weekend days, maybe Friday to Sunday, and then you'll obviously they will finance those 3 days basically, and then you basically send an invoice maybe on a Monday or Tuesday morning, and then they'll pay you from that. So it will be paid per hour of Friday to a Sunday. So if I'm gonna be playing 3 hours on a Friday, they will finance that. Same thing on Saturday and a Sunday.
Yeah. Did that opportunity of saying now you're working in a contract space as a DJ give you other opportunities outside of your own sphere as a part of your Kove?
It did, yes. Also it gave me an exposure because there's a lot of attention for Kove or that side of the world. Many people love the sports. And online it looks appealing. So the opportunity came in there for me as a DJ that if I would be going to another place or another restaurant, there will be an interest to say, okay, now this guy has played Kove, and Kove is quite a big market. So surely he's gotta know his story there and there.
In terms of now you're in the space and you're getting that attention that is required, that is desired for you to market yourself into bigger spaces. What big events did you get opportunities in then?
I didn't actually play in big events.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah, obviously, when I go back to Samora, whatever big event they have there, obviously I will be featured because I grew up here, they know me, and I'm playing at an attractive spot now.
Yeah.
So, Kove, this is our boy, so they will feature me. But across Cape Town, look, man, I'm not gonna lie, it's been mostly restaurants or having a residency there, and that has been the case for most of my time while I was DJing.
So in essence, your strategy or your structured business plan is to do that type of collective events in terms of small spaces, restaurants. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that was my focus at that time, or just a few years back. Yeah, and plus, man, with Kove, you didn't get to play a lot in other places because you are playing from Friday here until Sunday, and on busy times like your December holidays, it would also include midweek gigs.
Oh, okay.
So you don't really get much time to be playing elsewhere unless you are booked at another place and maybe you're gonna play in a set after Kove. Most likely after your set at Kove, then it would be one of those. But again, it wouldn't be an event in my case.
Yeah. There's I've heard you play a lot of genres, no?
Right.
And I've always said, Aphiwe does a wonderful alternative set. But I've like literally, that's a narrative that you've never pushed.
Right.
How did you get into alternative music and the space?
Right. So that would be the love of music.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because I listen to a lot of soul.
Yeah.
So that's the foundation, soul. And most of the time with me, as long as there is an element of soul in a song, then I'm in.
You're playing it.
So that has been the case. So you learn about that. Jazz obviously is part of that, lounge, chill out. So I love those sounds. And you could obviously identify those sounds when you're listening to the house music that we play, right? Because that's basically the foundation. So I got interested. Then, to my surprise, there are DJs that actually play like a jazz set, for example, or an R&B set. So that's where the interest grew for me. Okay, that would be nice. And obviously, it takes a lot of work when it comes to collecting the right song and the right song for you to mix. Some of them you don't necessarily have to mix
on beat.
On beat, yes. Yeah. But that's how I became familiar with that. And because there were other guys that are playing soulful house music, dominantly soulful house music, that get to play the other side of music.
Yeah.
About Parada. So that's where the interest came in. And some of the guys I met locally about like R&B, maybe like a DJ Sebs from, I don't know, T's Lounge, another spot that I used to play at Coka. So they're playing a nice R&B set. I'm like, okay, that's nice. So that's how I got into that space.
Yeah. In terms of spaces that you've played now, do you think ICAS is catching up to how the spaces in the CBDs are looking like?
In terms of music or?
Music appreciation for one, space, aesthetics,
right,
sound maintenance.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'd say that. Look, just on music alone, ICAS has always been, when it comes to music, ICAS, they know music.
Yeah.
Especially if you're gonna be talking about R&B and soul. ICAS, that's the stuff. They know that very well.
Yeah.
And when it comes to restaurants or venues that are designing their spaces to be appealing in aesthetics, there is a lot of that. They are catching up.
Yeah. What has been the most receptive space that you've played at? It's not part of your gigs or booked for that specific event. Like literally, which restaurant have you gone to, or an intimate space whereby you played a set and it was appreciated, but it was not planned in a sense?
not the places that we currently play at.
No. You know, so currently you curate where you play. Literally,
Right.
you have your followers and
Yes.
the people that want to hear that music following and looking. I'm looking for a space where you went and you weren't expected and you dropped a killer set. Like, you always have those one spaces where you just play music and the vibe comes back from the group.
Right.
And it's like they were not expecting it.
Yeah.
I'm asking this in terms of...
Actually, well, for me, that would be my first gig at FAWA, actually.
Yeah.
At that time, I was not part of FAWA when I heard that. But obviously, they can relate to the music, but it was my first time playing for those people. And most people there, it was their first time hearing me play. They were familiar with Aphiwe Coka, but I was not part of FAWA. It was at the 41. No, it was not the 41. 14 Stories.
Oh, 14
Stories, yes.
Yeah.
14 Stories Rooftop in Cape Town. So the first set that I played there, man, that was amazing.
The reception.
The way they responded, that was amazing. I still remember that set.
How then, firstly, tell me a relationship with Sboza. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, Sboza, I touched on him earlier. Through Jazz Bishop, Usporo.
Yeah.
So there's a friend of mine who's not a DJ, right? So he also knows Usporo. I think Basuka from the same place, PE. So they knew each other in that way, and then that's how we knew. The three of us knew each other, and then I had a session during lockdown, or just after lockdown, I think, but around those times. I was having a session in my house, just inviting like 2 DJ friends. Every Saturday I would do that.
Yeah.
And then this other Saturday I had Usporo, Jazz Bishop, who then invited Sboza because they were connected. And Sboza came to my place, and that's how I first met Sboza, actually.
Yeah.
I've always known about him, checking online about Facebook, because like I said, I've been following these guys who play the kind of music that I offer.
Yeah.
But I didn't meet a lot of them. So Sboza came into my space when I first met him.
Okay.
2021/2020, yeah.
Okay, and then you guys started an event that you hosted. Was it Bungalow?
Bougainvillea and Greenpoint. Yes. Sun-soaked Sundays.
Sun-soaked Sundays.
Yeah. So that concept again, the passion or the heart and soul of that was the music that we both appreciated, house and non-house music, the stuff that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And then we, the next thing, we had a conversation, built on ideas, and we came up with this thing.
Yeah. Sun-soaked Sundays. Dope event though.
Man.
And then, how then do you, the two of you, then now get absorbed into FAWA as a big family now?
Right. Because Sboza was already part of FAWA.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was very visible at FAWA events because again FAWA spoke to me.
Yeah.
In terms of the music and the chance of FAWA, and Sboza was part of that as well. So Sboza was now my friend and a business partner, if you like.
Yeah.
At Sun-soaked Sundays. So, man, we would be sharing the same space a lot with the FAWA guys. I would be in the FAWA event, and then eventually it just made sense, man, because Sboza would be engaging with me on Sun-soaked Sundays matters, and also I got introduced to SK. We met, and SK, one of the FAWA guys as well.
Yeah. And
the rest of the FAWA guys, and then the conversation just made sense from there. And then I was started through featuring in FAWA lineups, and then it became a regular guest DJ or regular feature in the lineup.
Yeah.
And then eventually it became part of the family.
Yeah. And now currently you hold, I think you curate the lineups. Your position in FAWA is?
Obviously I'm an associate DJ, and then I'm part of the curation at one of the spots that we play at in Cape Town, Gypsy.
Yeah.
So I do a co-leading the curation part of it, but obviously it's not me alone. But I'm very hands-on on that part of the work, and coordinating the events, being part of the team that does that, pretty much that, yeah.
What is the pressure that comes with you or people knowing that you curate the lineups in terms of people trying to come and they want bookings?
Yeah, it's look, ideally you don't want your name to be at the forefront.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, what you want is people to approach FAWA and not necessarily Aphiwe. But of course, if I do know, I have an insight that Aphiwe is taking lead on that piece of the work, then I'm going to approach him. So there's always that pressure that you're going to get people coming to you, and you have to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so the pressure is. You're going to get 5 DJs that you know very well, and they're fitting good DJs, but they all like to play, and you can't always prioritize them at the same time.
Of course. You have to give everybody equal chances and opportunity to play.
Yeah.
So what would one, I should assume, Uguti, before people come to you, you
Right.
also go out and look for specific DJs that fit into what the vision FAWA and Gypsy is, and how you guys would like your brand to be given out there, to be seen out there.
Sure.
What do you look for in DJs that come and play when you curate? Like what are the specifics that you're looking for in a DJ? Or how do you find them? Let me ask that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're mentioning that, because the role or the requirement is that activeness must be there. You have to go out more than just sitting and waiting for people to come to you and ask for DJ gigs. Obviously, you have to meet the objectives of the venue. That's the starting point. And FAWA, and once it starts with FAWA and the venue, and then DJs come in between that. So obviously for DJs, activeness, that's what the obvious thing that they're going to be looking for. Obviously the music has to be fitting. I don't think we need to even dwell on that one. It goes without saying. But also I think the value that the DJ adds, other than the music offering, but what they add to, obviously, to the space, or the potential of the DJ growing up, and the ambitions of the DJ as well, because you also want to provide a platform for a DJ to showcase himself as well. So you look at a combination of those things. What are the aspirations of the DJ? But more than anything, what the DJ is doing or looking to do in the industry as a whole.
Yeah. So if you had to give advice to people in terms of how to prep, because I should assume it's not only FAWA that looks at people like that. If one were to prep, let's call it marketing. If one had to market themselves out there, what do you think are the key things that they should look at in terms of, currently this is where I am, this is what I need to improve on, so as I can be noticed, so as I can be marketable to the people that host events, to promoters basically? Right.
I think, look man, a lot of these things come to one thing. You have to meet people at some point. Even if you have a good social image online, but you have to convert that by going out and engaging with people. And obviously that becomes your reference. It's always nice to collect your references whenever you are in these spaces that you want to be at, and then the next space that you want to play at. Just attract or reference what you have done. Try to show what you have done. Try to sell yourself through that way. But I think more than anything, it's more humane than just being online and not engaging with anyone. So go to these events, engage with these DJs, and look, it always takes a conversation for something to happen.
It really does take conversation, because it's pointless me knowing, there's no element feel to me talking to you on social media, because I can't remember you literally, because there's a lot of people we talk to.
True.
So now if you're here in person and I see you and I see you and I see you and I see you again and again, you become someone who is part of.
That's true.
That's true. The small conversation. How was your day? Did you see this? Did you see that? I get you.
Because in Abandu at the end of the day.
True. Currently, when you're not working, right?
Right.
Where do you go what events do you attend that are literally interesting you right now and people should look out for?
Right. It's actually an event that I've played at. It's called, okay, these will be events that are done by our DJ friends or colleagues in the industry.
Okay, cool.
Gin and Tonic,
Yeah.
Sundowner. Family and Friends, also done by a friend of mine. A couple of those, man.
Yeah.
In town. So I would attend those. You also have one of your events that you do, Analogue Culture.
Yeah.
It's mostly events and sometimes residencies.
Yeah.
If someone is playing at a certain spot, I would go and listen to. But also what I do on my time, because some venues play different genres all at one night. So there would be a special time where I would want to listen to like a proper R&B daytime vibe. Then I would go to maybe a Tease Lounge Sunday in Kukuletu and just chill for like 2 hours proper, because I know some of the guys, I know some of the DJs. Then I would branch to maybe a Rance if some friend of mine is playing, especially on Fridays, because Rance does a lot of those Deep House
Fridays.
Sets, yes.
Yeah.
So those would be the type of events I would be looking to attend when I'm off or I'm not doing any activities at FAWA or I don't have gigs of my own.
Okay. What does a perfect gig look like to you?
Who? The DJ knows their story first. For me, or in fact, before
For you. Because then literally if you had to curate an event of a seismic magnitude, you'd literally, for you.
Obviously, it's the communication before the event, the communication that you get before the event with the event organizer or promoter or the venue. That communication is very important before the event, keeps you excited. The material that they send you before the event, the details about their venue, and then once you are there, the catering that they give to you, the hospitality that they provide to you. And of course, I'm not going to talk about the crowd and the music because it has to fit. But communication, man, once they create that environment for you and just being taken care of, it's going to make you perform at your best and actually enjoy the experience. And it actually becomes even interesting right after you're done playing. You can actually sit and engage with the people and be part of the vibe. Yeah.
I should presume you've been collecting and curating for a while now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now my question is, a lot of us, you end up falling into the space of analog, right? As I have, I've fallen into that because I believe keeping the music that literally hits you is a timeless thing, man. And it's like keeping history. It's like writing a book of some sort, which tells your story in music format. How come you haven't fallen into the trap of vinyls?
Vinyls?
Yeah.
Look, I am starting to fall, or I've been thinking about that.
Yeah.
But also, I said to myself the other day that, look, I've only just started, so fair, it makes sense. But I'd also like to think that if, for example, Abuti Buja was doing vinyls at that time.
Yeah, you would have been in on that line.
Easily just.
Yeah.
So I think it comes to that, and it comes to the exposure. It comes to who has that, who is doing that, who's the next close person that you can actually engage with.
Yeah.
And how do you make it make sense? This is my music. Because there's something special about vinyls, right?
Yeah.
And just falling in love with this art, I became so interested into that space. And look, I don't know, man, when that is going to start. In one of these days, I hope. But yeah, it's starting to play on my mind.
Yeah.
Starting to play on my mind.
Yeah. I believe I'm sure you know who Trev the Japanese is, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I've went to Trev Tolba. I've went to another event called the Sankoff.
I've heard of that.
And 90% of the time, when I'm in Cape Town, I've heard you, Usbu, Sboza, or Mr. X.
Okay.
You give me that vibe in terms of sound.
Lovely.
Right? And like, one of my perfect events would be to host an event that has you, Sboza, Ukopu,
right,
and so literally the alternative space people play
sure.
that sound, eh?
Sure.
So as I can recreate that, because then I can't fly to Joburg every week.
Of course.
Right? But I'd like to recreate something of that nature, like Cape Town, with that feel. The sound is beautiful. The sound is extremely, extremely beautiful. So I really would love to see that. So literally, maybe you should start collecting vinyl and seeing if you can have that.
True. Look, man, the idea behind Sound Soul Sundays, that was the foundation. Yeah. Essentially. That was the foundation. And the hope is that on the following year, we could do one of those. But yeah, those are great spinners, by the way.
They are, eh? They are. Yeah. What's next for Aphiwe?
In the music space, right?
Yeah.
Look, it's obviously now there's Aphiwe, an individual, and me being part of an entity that is Friday Afterwork Affair. So I think ideally I want to grow as well as a DJ, as far as getting occupied. Of course, that is very important.
Yeah.
But also, look, that vinyl conversation that we just had, it's looming, and the production side of things. But I'm very interested into the instrumental approach in the music. So it's actually something that I actually wanna go deeper into, because I've already started investing in that space.
Yeah.
I love the bass guitar.
Yeah.
So I had that, but I didn't do much on it, and I'm beating myself on that.
Yeah.
So it's actually something that I actually wanna put on my calendar as a prospect, and actually just dive deeper into that and invest time onto it, just to explore the music, because that's how I love this industry and the music in general.
So literally, you want to get into music production, so to say?
I do. I've always wanted that, probably before I even got into this whole DJing thing. Yeah.
So how come you never pursued that initially?
Look, no excuses, man. I'm not gonna say this or that. I think it's making that become your priority.
Yeah. That
so,
would allow you to actually chase it.
Yes. I think I got consumed so much into the digital side of things and just DJing, but I didn't actually invest much on that side or put time into it.
Yeah.
Until recently, when I started buying that cat, because now it's like playing on my mind. So that was the first step, but I realized that there are many more steps now that I need to take, and make that dream or reality for me.
That would be dope, though, hey?
I do want it.
It would be very, very dope. I'm just thinking about it now, but it would be very dope. And literally, it gives you an insight on the music. So, as we speak right now, literally, when it comes to music knowledge, you're not yet there. It's something that you're still going to pursue in terms of, you already have the guitar.
Yes.
It's just a matter of just learning how to play the guitar and literally just throwing notes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that would be dope. That would be dope.
Just to have fun, man, in the process. I think it's very important. Just create that fun.
Yeah. Music. How do you fund the whole thing? Besides the money that you make off of DJing.
Okay.
How do you fund the whole thing?
DJing.
Yeah. It's very expensive.
It's very expensive, yes, and can be time consuming as well.
I want to talk about headphones that cost 4,000 rand for decent quality headphones will cost you about 4K, and they literally last you for a very long time.
Yeah, look, this music thing is, I think on one of the interviews that you did, someone was talking about the vinyls and how expensive that journey alone. So it is expensive. It needs time. It is time consuming.
Yeah.
It can be draining. So you always need to find a way of checking out and just coming back again so that you can fall in love with it all over and all over.
And not make it a cost issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's how I found it. Could also be very destructive if you're not focused.
Yeah.
Or rather the industry. If you're not focused or if you don't know your story. But I think more than anything, if it's got you, then it's got you. You're always gonna come back to it.
True. Destructive how, by the way?
There's a lot happening in the industry, man.
Yeah.
So you need to be disciplined. I know that very well on my side.
Yeah.
I've dropped a couple of balls or fumbles along the way, just because sometimes it's very easy to just lose track of focus.
Yeah.
So because everything is almost here, that sometimes you would almost feel like you are a hero or bit of a superstar, because sometimes or in some spaces everything could just be provided to you.
It becomes overwhelming.
So in that sense, there's a lot that is happening. So you just need to be very firm in how you go about things and your business. How do you deal with the overwhelming part of it, the influx? Because I definitely know if you're overwhelmed by things that you're doing and then you've got an influx of them, like in one row you need to be doing this. Right.
We are Sebenza the whole weekend, you're playing here. The fatigue gets to you.
Right.
The anxiety gets to you, and there's very unkosher people out there that are not so nice, and maybe you have an altercation or isn't this fun and
Right.
How do you deal with that when in your space to say I'm going to eject myself from this situation, go and recoup and refocus and then come back? What is it that you do to just pull yourself out and say you relax?
I think first it because you're always working with people, so it's a blessing to work with the right people.
Yeah.
In my case, especially when you're a youngster and you are working with a macrot man, so it's always nice to work with those people that have a sense of care, let's say, or an understanding of a person in general. That becomes a blessing. And for you as a person, look, obviously you have to be honest all the time in the industry. You will be making some mistakes, but when you have that sense of support, it's easier to communicate, to be able to check in and check out and be able to say, look, I want to check out, because there could be a lot. Sometimes some stuff that happens doesn't have anything to do with music or this entertainment industry, But if you are working with people where you can actually express yourself and sometimes be able to make mistakes, but feel that sense of support that it's there. And then I think for you, again, as a person, I have to constantly challenge myself and remind myself consciously that, look, this is just another element of your life. It's not the entire life. This doesn't define you. It's part of, or it's an extension of your life. So I think I'm saying this a lot, that ability to be able to check out, just check out a lot, so that you can reflect outside and look at your actions and look at how you are growing or not growing, what is working well, and how this is impacting you or the people around you. That helps. It's not always easy to do that, but you just kind of have to force yourself. Sometimes the situation would force you to go into that zone. And then I'm obviously a bit of an overthinker myself. I'm always, I spend most of my time being in my zone, but I should be able to obviously take myself out of that and just reflect about things in general. And that helps sometimes, because it always reminds me why I love this, why I started this, how I got here, and why I should appreciate things and what that and that has done for me. That conscious reminder, I find it very helpful.
At the back, behind Aphiwe and the guy who's doing music, who's pushing you there? Right.
So the way I'm thinking about that question, I'm thinking about, I don't know, maybe you will guide me if that should be the route I'm taking. I'm thinking about other stuff that I do outside.
No, I'm talking about family-wise. Right. I know for a fact, and then you walk at home, you walk in and say, I want to be a DJ. First thing is they'll tell you you're crazy. you're
Right,
crazy.
right.
You know, there's no way you're going to be a DJ in life. You need to do this, right?
Got you.
And then I know a lot of people that go to school, they did their school thing, came back, went into the workforce, only to be able to fund the DJing concept so as they can push it as a side hustle. True. You know, so in your case, for you to say you're still doing it from back then to now, who's been the driving force behind you to say, go ahead, man, do this, you'll be okay? Right.
Look, the foundation was quite solid, actually, and I do appreciate that. I'm still involved, but not so active like I was a couple of years back in sport. So I had a very good mentor, coach. We call him Jerry. That's his name, or rather Lucindiso. That's our coach. I'm a cricket coach. So that guy has done a lot for me when it comes to guidance, mentoring, advice, and not just in sport, but just for life in general. So there are so many things that I approached with confidence because he was pushing that for me. And my mother, she believed a lot in me, supporting me. And more than anything, she was very hopeful, man. You know, when she saw me, she's like, okay, there's hope, there's light. You know, something's gonna happen. So those two people have became a driver for me, and just the rest of my family. My aunts have been there, and my cousin. I've got a very close cousin sister of mine who's also very supportive. She's always been there in my gigs, way back from Camps Bay days, Sunset Sessions. To date, she's always been there supporting me. So we touch base a lot with each other. So, and then obviously, as I'm growing up, I'm becoming more responsible as a brother now because I've got a younger brother. So that person now, that is me, becomes more responsible about things. In general, I have to be responsible about myself, to understand the impact that everything has on me and those who come after me, especially my brother and my younger cousins. And for the whole family, in fact. The role that I have to play in my family. So
you're the mentor now.
Essentially.
So where do we find Aphiwe when we're looking for him?
Part of being part of FAWA, right? You will find me at Gypsy Rabbit on Saturdays. That's what we do. That's our Saturday residence on Saturdays. And every now and then on Fridays, maybe last Friday of the month or 2 times a month on Fridays, you will find us at La Parada. And you will find me at one of these events that I mentioned earlier. And as far as that part of the work is concerned, on weekends, those are the spots you will find me at.
For an aspiring DJ that's going to be watching this, any advice?
Talk, connect with people. Go and connect, build relationships. Just go and connect. That's the advice. Go and connect and find out. Go and find out.
Before I let you go, confirm you have another branch, or do I call it a branch, a franchise? You've got another franchise in East London, right?
Right.
East London or PE?
Port Elizabeth, PE, yes.
PE. You guys went on a tour to that space, I think last year?
Last year, yes.
How was that?
Oh man, it was amazing. My first tour, obviously, so it was interesting for me. Just to be touring outside Cape Town for this work. That was interesting. The experience was amazing, man. I think again about the industry as a whole, because that was just more than a gig for me. It was interesting just to see what happens in the industry. You go to a gig, bookings, hotels, moving from one place to another. So that was interesting. And playing at a new place, no one knows you. You're coming in as a crew. That was also interesting. But I think for the entity or the brand, it was massive, man. It was a investment for us, because it made people who are in other provinces to be interested with FAWA. It would be nice for FAWA to come to their event. I saw one guy in our social media platform from Durban asking, when do you guys get to come to Durban and have this tour? So that's interesting on its own. I think prospects are looking good on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
looking forward to see what happens.
You guys have got music under FAWA that is out there.
Right.
I know for a fact there's people in Mafikeng asking about FAWA. There's people in Mangaung, Blom side asking about FAWA, you know, and literally, like, I think the name is already out there.
True.
It's just the idea of then the tour needs to extend to that area.
True.
A couple of months back, with you moved over to Jozi.
Yes, sir.
Should we be expecting another branch of FAWA to come up in Joburg?
Possible. Okay. Possible, because again, the idea is to grow.
Yeah.
For that FAWA Friday concept.
Yeah.
Because that's where basically what I'm involved, or where I'm involved, a great deal of the time for me. It's in that space. So the idea is for that to grow nationally. So that is very possible.
Yeah.
We can't dismiss that thought.
If you had to go play overseas, what's your most what in that aspect? Where would you wanna go play? London. Where in London specifically?
I don't know the places.
Where and why?
So much, but because of the music offering, obviously a lot of interesting producers or guys that I follow and like in that London space, and not just for house music, by the way. There's a lot of interesting jazz in the UK that's coming out, fresh jazz, R&B, and soulful house. Obviously, producers like Abo Art Jazz, Sean Maccabi, and Compton, you know, so those are big names that we know. So obviously, there's got to be something happening on that side of the world when it comes to their clientele or the crowd, when it comes to the appreciating this music. So that would be nice for me to just first start there.
that would be dope, though. That would be. Tell me about some of the artists on the jazz front that come from the UK. I know Andy Compton plays a lot of alternative stuff that is more jazz element based.
Yes.
Who else is out there that's doing the same stuff?
In terms of jazz?
Yeah.
Who? You've got Blue Lab Beats.
Okay.
Man, I once attended a show of theirs they had recently in Cape Town. Very good in production or instruments. Then there's a lot of soul / R&B that's very big, like your Mahalia, Jazz, Caris. A lot of kids that are coming out doing rather an alternative offering in the music. And
then locally?
KG Sunset, Soulful House. It's amazing. Obviously June Jazzing. Clifton Malo, amazing guys. Cool Affair, it's back, it's doing a lot of amazing stuff now.
I could attest to all of
we could talk whole days, for when it comes to local music offering.
Have you found what you just mentioned now would be names that are literally out there. Have you found someone coming up that does the same stuff that you are interested in yet?
Who's already in the mainstream?
No, not yet in the mainstream, but just coming up with the stuff out there.
I used to know a boy, but I'm not going to mention his name.
Why?
Maybe I should challenge him. He's called Ndo-C. He was studying production, but I also have not connected with that boy in a while. But I could see when he was studying this whole production thing, was very talented. There's a lot of potential there. He loves the music. I could just see his path growing and him becoming one of our favorite producers in this jazz, broken beat, new jazz, soulful house type of stuff.
Azola who?
I forgot his surname.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, like I said, I haven't connected with that fella.
You must find him.
No, why? I should, eh?
Yeah, you should find him and tell him not to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people doing great stuff out there. The other week, I found an EP, Yaga Miyazisto.
Who?
Miyazisto.
Oh, Miyazisto, right, right.
I've always known Miyazi for doing a lot of the tech stuff.
Right.
That EP is a soulful EP.
Nah.
Right? And when I mentioned this to SK, and I was like, the man has been doing soulful stuff. You should just, yeah, try and find more on his catalog. You will find the man has been doing a lot of soulful stuff.
Because I remember now when I started playing around about 2012 to 2014, that era, there was a lot of soulful, jazzy stuff that was happening. Mia's sister would be one of those names you would see in that catalog around that time.
I'd love to see him drop a set actually of his soulful stuff more than the stuff that he uses.
Okay.
That he does or that he's well known for.
Away.
Yeah. It was great hanging out with you. I think we should do this more often than not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Chile, just have a chat. You tell me what's new in the game, what's happening, and what future endeavors does FAWA and Aphiwe have.
Yeah.
We really appreciate your time, my man, and more importantly, so is I really appreciate your sets. You know?
Yeah,
it's as much as we like to listen to different music.
Yes.
I think music slaps more when somebody creates a playlist and plays it back to us.
Oh,
you know, as opposed to just listening to music online.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's just a different experience.
Yeah, because I know DJs dig for music. So literally, I still appreciate the idea that we get to learn different things.
So,
and I hope all of our DJs never fear the idea of playing new stuff to us.
Because it just keeps it's giving life, man. The blood pumping and
And worst of all, now I don't think we have a radio station in Cape Town that does
a deep
house for tea now. So literally now we rely on when we go to an event, we need to go and listen to this. And it's not easy for people to be listening to a mixtape the whole day. And there's, so the easier one is literally going to events and going to listen to Aphiwe drop an alternative set, and then I go crazy in my own space.
Hey, bro. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to ask you, because I know you've also been an avid listener of your radio. I think I've heard you saying that in one of your interviews.
Yeah.
What do you think now? I know I'm just asking this one question about the status of radio and the culture now, that culture of listening to radio and what it used maybe a few years back, like maybe a decade ago and now. Because like on your point on what you said, that Cape Town, Agna radio that actually really does something.
Yeah, I really don't have an answer or a story on that, because I've never thought about it in a sense. How do we get that back on radio?
Yes.
I can tell you, if Bushy Radio could come out and say this is the stats of who used to listen to radio between 4 and 6, the time going of Freedom Flex no Sive at Bush Radio.
Sure.
And say these were the stats.
That Solo. Salute. Okay.
They would be able to tell us how many people tuned into that show.
I see.
And maybe those numbers and those stats could then convince spaces like Good Hope FM to give someone Dino's slot, and literally it is possible. It can happen.
Yeah.
I think it just needs someone within that space to say, this is what we need to do for this kind of culture, your music.
Sure.
Because literally, I told Dimitri the other day that you can look at all the genres that are out there. In fact, go Jade No Aid.
Sure.
By the Village Cape Town. You can look at how many genres have came and gone. Like have became popular and then subsided. And popular and subsided. Kwaito, it was Ikom, it was some of that stuff about Tandu Jalabo, Cape UKP.
I see the Afro kind of
The
stuff.
Afro kind of stuff.
I see.
Then came Afro itself, the hardcore. Then we've got a 3-step now. We've got a piano in the background. Through all those eras and genres where the music became famous and just kept on doing a wave. Deep house has been there and consistent.
And it's sustainable, eh?
There's always been deep house artists that have been playing, producing, DJs that have been playing and curating events and, promoting.
Sure.
I mean, look at Umalumvini. You know, he's one of the people that's held the industry at deep house up high since. So I do believe Uguti, somewhere, somehow, deep house does play. It's got its gap in the market.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not commercialized like music or munye, so it fails to show the country Uguti, as opposed to a trending concept. It's literally a sustaining concept. It's been there and it exists. And I tell you now, in the next 15 years, there'll be 2 other guys just like me and you doing the same thing. Deep house.
Right.
You get what I mean?
True.
So it in sustainability. It's just that it misses the platforms where people advocate for it in a big note. You know?
True. That's true.
I was saying, if you're in Joburg, for instance, I'm definitely sure you would have been playing at events as Fana Nabo Sankofa.
Sure.
Events as Fana Nabo Trevtober, you know? And literally, I don't know of any other events down there, but I'm definitely sure there's a lot.
100%.
There's a lot. There's a Sisi called Mamtak.
Yes. Afhiwe.
Yeah.
I have to follow her, in fact.
I've heard her play at Listen and Digest Yagasbu.
Yes.
I saw her play at the Daisies.
She's quite a regular up in Cape Town.
Yeah, she is. And I'm definitely sure they're curating something down there. Konotino, he used to do Wing Republic. He does a lot of gigs. So I believe if literally we had that kind of exposure like Cape Town, which is, I don't know what is literally missing, but the same exposure that Joburg would have, I literally believe we would be able to sustain a deep house like nobody's business. And literally then it would be a focus that goes on radio.
Sure.
For instance, at Radio 2000, they literally love the stuff.
Man. Yeah.
They've had Utabo play there, and I was like, Utabo's playing at Radio 2000 and is doing alternative sound.
Sure.
But that's because their format of music supports the concept. I've seen a bunch of guys being at Ikaya FM. For instance,
Kaya FM is still solid.
100%.
Still solid.
100%. I think what Greg Maluka planned for it.
It's
stuck.
Yeah, true.
It's stuck, and it's. I mean, the man has curated UIFM, gotten it to where it is. He went into the Kaya and got it to where it is. So literally, we are missing that in Cape Town, to have people that can take radio stations and say, leave your idea of this is only what works. There's a lot that works. Because the music umning and uprod. You know? That's like my one piece set on the idea of
received.
Yeah.
I see. It's an interesting conversation, I suppose.
It is. And one thing again that I think it's happening, but it's happening in isolation like Cape Town is, you got scholars finding a produce for music. That's producing a lot of producers and creating artists and creating people that can get into the music space. I think the one thing that also needs an enhancement is they need to have platforms where they can literally showcase once they've done their study.
That is true.
And obviously then that also requires a big part of venues, a big part on the music industry, literally.
That's true.
Let's put your focus on this.
And foundations, because the truth is we don't spend enough time on the support side of things for the actual thing.
Yeah.
Because that is very important. That actually the stuff that adds value for a youngster to just be out there, because there's more support that's happening outside the decks.
I also feel like,
in fact, stuff like this, that actually adds value. That indeed adds value.
I think there needs to be formulation of some structure. True. You know, like I don't know how to place it, but what we do does require some form of formal infrastructure where this is what paying rates are, this is how contracts work, this is how you
formalization.
Formalization. And then in that aspect, then you can literally gauge who who's in it for the culture.
People can actually take
it
it serious.
Exactly. It needs a career path, so to say. Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for being part of my show and being part of the conversation and offering me your time. I really appreciate it, by the way, and I wish you good fortune going forward. And yeah. And to all the listeners and the people watching the show, my name is DJ Ndo-C. We've had Aphiwe Coka in the show. Really appreciate your support, and see you on the next episode.
Cheers.
DJ Ndo-C out. #PA. Woo!